Hi, we're back in the video. Normally our videos tend to consist of mystery boxes from companies like the Amazing Mystery Box, WrestleCrate and so on, where we take a look at various monthly subscription boxes and take a look to see what's inside. This time it's going to be a little bit different. I've had some of our viewers get in touch and ask about our scoring system. As you can see, any time that we look at a box, we rate all the items with a hit or a miss to see if they're any good. But we've had people asking us what makes my decision in terms of how I score the videos. So I thought I'd put this video together to try and go into a little bit more detail. In terms of the boxes themselves, one thing I don't do is actually give an overall score to the box. Do I give it a box score out of 10? And there's a good reason for that. As I said, we cover a wide range of boxes, things like a Doctor Who box from the Amazing Mystery Box, Pro Wrestling from WrestleCrate. I've covered Star Wars boxes from, again, Amazing Mystery Box, Smuggler's Crate, and we've done Funko boxes, we've done Spider-Man boxes, and various others. But the issue is that each of those boxes is very unique. I feel, and pricing again has ranged from £10 up to around 30 plus. Using a scoring system for those boxes is very difficult when there's no real way to compare them. How do you compare a £25-30 pro wrestling box to a £10 pop culture box? Those two are very different content, and there's no real fair like-for-like comparison between the two. Even comparing a Doctor Who and a pro wrestling box, when again their prices might be on a level with each other, they've got a very different audience in terms of the content of them. So I decided totally against doing a overall score for each box, and rather to focus on the content inside, and then obviously let the video speak for itself, and then do a brief overall summary at the end and just let my actually thoughts come out instead, rather than looking at the overall box. And then the ratings for the items itself, and then you'll see, are the items themselves any good, and let the scores that I'll display on screen actually show that. So I want to focus on the items, but how do I decide if an item itself is any good and deserves one of my hit or miss scores? So I'll try to use this video to explain that going forward. So without wasting more time, we'll look at each of the categories and types of scores in question. Onto the scores generally now, and there's various reasons why I will and won't give a hit or a miss to something. The one thing I have to stress is that these are just my personal views on the items themselves. One thing I will obviously consider is it something I actually like? Do I think it's a great item? Do I think it's particularly bad or something I don't particularly like? One thing I don't do is take the actual price or current value of an item. So I might take an item that could be worth £40-50 and not like it, or I could get an item that's £1 or something I could even just go into Poundland and pick up and absolutely love it. So the cost and the value or perceived value of an item makes no difference whatsoever. But there are quite a lot of factors that I do take into consideration when it comes to the items and the value, which I will cover throughout this video. But yeah, the actual value and the cost is irrelevant. It's just my own personal opinion on whether it's something I do or don't like. So we'll kick off with food and drink. Now this is something that's I've got a little bit of an issue with in terms of boxes. Now, there are dedicated food and drink mystery boxes out there, and my daughter actually has a subscription to one of these. And personally, I don't buy any food and drink boxes. But a couple of boxes I have bought have included food and drink as mystery items. I think Superloop was one of those. I think Superloop now has been discontinued, but I do have a very serious issue about these. And even the food subscription boxes themselves don't actually ask any questions about from their customers about their needs. And here's the issue: both myself and my daughter are vegetarian, and my wife's a pescatarian, so that straight from the off is an issue for us. with a lot they might tend to include food items from overseas or completely random ones. Superloot tended to include a lot of American snacks, and little random goodies. Without knowing what the ingredients are with something, how do you know that a particular snack is suitable for you? There's people who obviously might be vegan, might have food allergies. Pete, Solid Snake 2662, who's done a lot of videos that I watch, he's allergic to eggs. So he could get a snack in a box and simply not be able to eat it. There's other people who may have gluten intolerance and allergies to lactose intolerance and so on. That's before you even get to people who have obviously of different religions, who won't eat pork, won't eat beef, and then you go into anything with gelatin. So there's so many different possible options where people cannot eat certain foods, but none of these boxes actually take this into consideration. So if you are going to include snacks in a box, you need to be asking these questions, or simply don't do it. Amazing Mystery Box not long ago actually did a box dedicated to Pez dispensers. Fortunately, Pez is actually vegan. So someone like myself, my daughter, that would have been fine, but again, they didn't ask the question if anyone had any special dietary requirements. So for me, if I come across any box that's included snacks as a bonus, the snacks get an instant miss. So if I do come across them in a future box, you'll see the miss scores shooting right up on them. Next one for me is whether an item is suitable for the audience the box is intended for. Now, most of the boxes I buy are aimed at a general audience or for adult collectors. And this is something that I don't think a lot of companies seem to be taking into consideration, probably with the exception of WrestleCrate. Now, one company I did contact when I was discussing the possibility of them sending me a box for review did actually try to justify that their box was aimed at for all collectors, but then tried to excuse one or two items as being for younger collectors. But that didn't wash with me the way their website was marketing the boxes. But one thing I will generally be quite harsh on is when items are included that are aimed at a niche market. When I say that, as you'll have seen in a recent Doctor Who video, I had a cosmetics bag. Now, cosmetics are only going to be used by a very select number of people who would have bought that particular bag, that box, I'm afraid. So is that going to be something that will appeal to everybody? Absolutely not. There was one of our viewers received a case for an iPhone 4, an iPad 4 tablet. Again, tablet cases as a whole are generally going to be niche items. Something for an iPad 4, how many of the box buyers are going to actually have an iPad 4? iPad cases themselves are bad enough to include in a box, but for that specific model, again, that would have been an instant miss for me. Purses, again, quite a niche market, unless you know someone who would actually want it. And then I come to one of my really sort of personal hates in terms of boxes, is things like stationery sets and things that are obviously aimed at kids. There are no adult collectors I know that would want stationery sets and what are obviously kids items. So again, you'll notice I'll be giving a lot of hits, a lot of misses for. Amazing Mystery Box used to be very good for avoiding this type of thing. HMV are notorious for filling their boxes with things like stationery sets, and as you'll have seen for some of my HMV boxes, I've had several of those and every single one has included one or more stationery sets. There will be automatic misses for those. But yeah, I'd like to see boxes that, if they're aimed at adult collectors, they focus more on more generic items that will appeal to everybody, or avoid the kids items like the stationery sets. Next up is a quality issue. Now, this is something where I'm not particularly referring to how good an item is, because obviously that is very much a personal taste, but the actual physical condition of something. Now, This is purely down to quality control at the company's end. Now, we're all aware that companies try to get their boxes produced as cheaply as possible. This will usually then come to warehouse fines, where a company might be offered a job lot of old merchandise, whether it's a big bundle of Star Trek items that's been lying around in a warehouse for years, a big lot of Doctor Who stuff that hasn't sold, or from any other pop culture franchise. Now, we don't mind getting merchandise that has been picked up quite cheaply in bulk. It's maybe a few years old, but we don't mind if it means we can get some extra goodies in our boxes. But some of this stuff the older overstock goods, the quality can be a little bit rough, shall we say. And I have had items before that has had visible signs of shelf wear, or in some cases a lot of damage. Now, no matter how good an item may be, it could be a great book, it could be a great CD, if it's damaged, you're not going to want that. You're not going to go into a shop and buy something off the shelf that's damaged unless it's in a reduced section. So why should we have to accept something in a mystery box that's actually in damaged or poor condition? So if it's physically damaged, it will get a miss. It could be something really brilliant that I've wanted for a long time, but everything in these boxes is being marketed as brand new. So should we accept something in substandard condition? If I was buying a box that was, say, a retro gaming box, and items were obviously being marked up as second-hand retro games, you wouldn't mind something being in slightly worn condition or as a deliberately used condition. But anything that's supposed to be new, I would want it to be in new condition. And sadly, I have had some stuff that's been worn, in sort of shelf-worn state so far. Unfortunately, Amazing Mystery Box has probably been the worst culprit here lately, so these will get a miss no matter what they are. Next one, again, another pet hate of mine, is duplicate items. This is covered. This is a little bit hit and mixed here. Some items I can forgive it, and buying as many boxes as I do from different companies, you will get duplicates which you can't avoid. But this can happen in a number of ways. There's little boxes and little mystery bags you can get with figures. When the boxes are sealed, you don't know what's in them, or the little bags are sealed, and you might get little minifigures. Those I can forgive and I don't mind. I've been collecting the Muppet Lego figures, obviously the minifigures. You don't know what's in there until you open it. If I had, say, a few of those in mystery boxes, and you get a duplicate, these things happen. It's not the fault of the mystery box company, so regardless of what the figure is, it would still get a hit. And I've had those with the Amazing Mystery Box, with their Doctor Who box, when you had the little TARDIS boxes, and those have had the little die castings. And here's one I had before, which was the keyring. Again, I've had a couple of these that have been duplicates, so, and I don't mind if I get a duplicate of that, because they don't know and I don't know. But there are other items that, again, they can't control it. Again, sticking with the Doctor Who box, Amazing Mystery Box have had included a lot of the Doctor Who figures from Eaglemoss. They would have had shelves of these in their warehouse, so their staff would have been instructed, include one of these figures. They go see a wall of figures, things like that would have been sitting on the shelf. They would just grab one off the shelf and put it in the box. They can't just say, you must include figure X or figure Y. So again, if I get these and it's a duplicate, that's fine. So anything else that might be from a Partworks, like a Star Trek graphic novel, Marvel graphic novel, I'll accept those even if it's something I've already got. But excuse me, but if it's something a little bit larger that's a duplicate, then I'm going to be a lot harsher, because it's something that they may have had a fixed number of things. And that's when we get into the territory like something, the Mr. Men plushies. It's quite easy for them to say, this month we'll give, say, a 11th Doctor plushie. Other times they might say, okay, let's stick in a 13th Doctor plushie. I've had two of these. Luckily my wife's decided to claim the one. But having two of those in two boxes, one is definitely going to be a miss, because this would have been classed as one of their bigger items in the box. So yeah, when you've got a larger item that they can control the quantity of what the white item is, they could just say everyone gets a Matt Smith plushie. So no, that would have got a miss automatically. But then we get onto the end with the Doctor Who boxes. You will have noticed that I've had the magnetic photo frame. I've had it 3 times. So do we, and it's not difficult for them to say, okay, let's give you a magnetic photo frame. Do they really need to say, we'll do it again and again and again? No. There are times, however, when I've had the same item from 2, maybe 3 different boxes. In those situations, I do treat each box as a unique item. So the HMV, if I get an item from a HMV box and I get the same item from an Amazing Mystery box, each one will get a hit, even if it's the same item, because obviously HMV can't control what Amazing Mystery box do. Amazing Mystery box can't control what HMV give away. So both ones will still get a hit. Okay, moving on, then we come on to something that really does wind me up, is the area of unofficial items. But these do fall into a couple of different categories. Either items that have been created specifically for boxes, and fakes. Now, items that have been created specifically for boxes can be things that generally I don't mind. WrestleCrate have been known for this, as I've got one here. One thing that came out in their book last month, Big Book of Wrestling Puzzles. They've done a few of these which have basically been word searches, crosswords and so on. Things like this I don't actually mind. I mean, it's completely original and it's covered all sorts of different things, puzzles and so on. So yeah, things like that I think are cool, and I'm quite happy to give those a hit. But then we go into the kind of the grey area or the dubious area. I've had prints from different boxes which have basically been original official artwork, just basically reprinted without permission and just included as very poor quality prints. Those, they're not licensed, they're unofficial at best, but generally quite illegal for them to do. They will get an automatic miss. There are others, like again, WrestleCrate. They've produced prints of original photos, original artwork. Fantastic, absolutely love those, so they'll get an automatic hit. But the worst are, again, I'm not going to mention names for the boxes, but I've had boxes with fake Lego figures. So you had sort of unofficial Lego minifigures for things like Star Wars, and these are, let alone the fact that they are unofficial, the quality is generally going to be pretty poor as well. So again, anything fake is going to be an automatic miss. It's the problem there is that they might be fine to look at on display if you take them out of the packets. At some point, if you ever do decide to sell your Lego collection, which some people do, if you've got fakes in there, it's going to hurt your collection as a whole anyway as a resale. So yeah, that's a big no. Next one for me is quirky items. I've had some very weird and wonderful items in the past. Each one of these will tend to get looked at on an individual basis. WrestleCrate had a run of giving gimmicky items away. These for me have generally been hit and miss. You've had things like calculators, money wallets, and even sunglasses. They have generally been a bit of a mixed bag for me. I've had some wonderful things, some awful. I do judge these on a one-by-one basis. But yeah, it all depends on the actual item itself. Yeah, it is a take it or leave it with those. I will rate those as they come in. One of my favourites I've had in recent months, however, has again come back to the Amazing Mystery box with their Doctor Who box, a cookie cutter set. basically the recipe books and there's a tea towel, cookie cutters and everything. They're having done a couple of these, but I've absolutely loved them. It's been really weird, really quirky, but yeah, it's been fantastic. They've done a couple of different ones, and I can't go wrong with that. It's something that's really odd. I've had two different ones in two different boxes, but both have got a hit, even though it's a similar item. It was just weird. I absolutely loved it. So strange items, quirky things, they can be fun to get. I haven't opened either of those yet, but as soon as I got them, I loved them. My wife saw the video, she wanted them as well. So some sort of quirky stuff can be great. It's very, again, a very personal thing, but yeah, I can love quirky stuff. Next one, what I would like to think of as being retro. But as collectors, we don't all just focus on brand new modern items. I tend to, I'm big into retro gaming. I've got collections dating back 45 years. I've got a console. I mean, you can't see it here in the cave, but I've got a games console on one of our shelves going back to the mid 70s. Yeah, I've got other things, games that have only just been released a few weeks ago. But I've got other collectibles. I mean, you can see stuff behind me on the shelves that are anything up to 30, 40 years old. So as collectors, some of us don't mind certain items. Obviously, if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll have stuff going back to 60s and 70s. Doctor Who, again, anything going right back to the 60s. So some collectors, you don't mind having older items. But again, this comes back to quality and condition, or whether it's an appropriate use of a box to give away older items. I mentioned earlier about the old warehouse stocks, but is some of that older stock going to be any good? I had one, or appropriate, one item I had in a recent Doctor Who box was a Doctor Who annual from 10 years ago. They boasted about it being a 50th anniversary annual, but we're now celebrating the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Is an annual from 10 years ago really going to be any good? And frankly, it's not. If it was even an annual that was, say, 1 or 2 years old, personally, that's not a good item for a box. They obviously managed to pick up a cheap job lot of old annuals, so I'm expecting to see more annuals over the coming months in the Amazing Mystery Box's Doctor Who box. But anything like an annual in a box is a bad move, personally. If they want to stick them on the shelves in some of their shops, because they do have about a dozen shops around the UK, that's fine for them. But in a mystery box, an annual is a bad idea. They did include a first day cover of a stamp from the debut of David Tennant's Doctor. The first debut of David Tennant's Doctor, that is. And I thought that was great. But an annual from a fixed year, no thanks. Again, I've seen companies doing retro gaming sort of mystery boxes, so they'll include old games. Again, you know that you're getting something that is intentionally old, and even the condition might be a bit worn. But for a mystery box that's going to include something that is very dated and looks it, sorry, but those, if it's not suitable and is something that won't deliberately age, then I'm sorry, no. Now, autographs don't come up very often in boxes. The only ones and unless you're paying for a premium box from a company, then the only ones I've received autographs in so far have been Impact Wrestling's mystery bags or from WrestleCrate. And to be honest, these will almost always get a hit from me. One I had a little while ago, Leon Slater, who's TNA's latest signing. And yeah, there's just, you cannot go wrong with an autograph. Pay £30 for a box, say including shipping, and if you go to any sort of convention where you've got anyone doing a signing, you're going to be paying £30 plus for an autograph anyway. So you're going to get the money, you're going to get the value of your box back just from the autographs alone. So yeah, every autograph, unless it's someone who's kind of on a personal level, is a little bit questionable, which I have seen once or twice in boxes, you're going to get your money back from the autographs, so automatic hit every time. Okay, last up is stickers and cards. Now, when I say stickers and cards, this is something that I really don't like in boxes. I've had these from a wide range of companies, HMV, Amazing Mystery Box, Nerdbase, and so on, and these have covered everything from Pac-Man, Batman, Yu-Gi-Oh, and so on. And basically, these are stickers and cards that have been designed for sticker albums, trading cards, trading card games, and a wide range of other things. But unless you're a collector of these, they are pointless. I had a few packs of Pac-Man stickers in a box, and unless you already collect that album, what is the point? Amazing Mystery Box, in one of their pop culture boxes, included a couple of packs of Overwatch stickers. Or was it? Yeah. And what is the point of having Overwatch stickers if you don't collect the album? These are absolutely pointless items, and anything like that will be an automatic miss. I just don't really see the point of including anything like that no one is going to want to make or can make use of. It's the same with expansions for card games or for anything like that. These for me are just an absolute waste of time. I would rather, I mean, some people will consider these to be bonus items, but I would rather see them either not included and just save the company a few pence or whatever, or if they've spent a bit more money on an expansion pack for a card game, just leave them out completely and just use that little bit of extra cash to improve the quality of one item. But yeah, there will automatically be a miss every time. That's it really for the scores. I mean, I'd love to know what you think about the scoring system, and if there's anything that you've got any more questions. I mean, if you've got any other questions, I'd love to know what you think. Just let me know below, and I'll answer any other questions or queries that you might have about it. But that's it for this video. Drop us a like, and if you're not already doing so, please subscribe and click on the bell for notifications as well. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you all again very soon with some more unboxing videos, and there's a link to our unboxing playlist at the end. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.